Part one of our talk focuses on proteins, carbohydrates, fats, water, and fad diets. We might take a little bit of a look at that. Don't you find it a head scratch? I do, that you can find this sort of thing at every third of a block in our cities. You hardly have to walk more than 10 steps to find the next place to offer you donuts, which are absolutely documented as one of the 10 worst foods on the planet. Now, basic nutrition consists of macronutrients and micronutrients. Your macronutrients, the larger nutrients that every food is made of, are proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. Your macronutrients are the vitamins and minerals. Where would you expect them to come from? We would like to think that they would come from food, but because so much food has become processed and man-made rather than sourced from the design of Earth, that they are lacking, those foods are lacking in vitamins and minerals. Proteins have diverse functions. What makes proteins so important is that every part of us, everything we're made of, skin, hair, nails, bones, muscles, connective tissue, whatever, is made from protein, primarily. Protein, the word itself, comes from the Latin or the Greek, meaning first cause, meaning initiatory, that which causes, that which precedes. Protein has many functions, and one of them is to provide the 8 and sometimes 9 essential amino acids that we cannot get from our bodies. We need to get from food that we put into the body. We cannot make it inside of our bodies. But once we have the 8 or 9 essentials that we get from food, then our bodies can produce hundreds of amino acids that do various and different functions internally. Proteins contribute to the structure of DNA. DNA is a huge topic. We could be talking about DNA for days, but we'll laser it to say that one of the components of DNA is your individualized genetic design that makes you so special in who you are. All of the very, very major differences that separate you from another person, the color of your eyes, the shape of your face, your bone structure, your hair, the color of your skin, all comes out of the DNA. And proteins contribute to the design and the health and wholeness of your DNA. Tissue repair is done usually when we rest, because the body is not busy then making energy for you to live your life and to handle your internal functions, but it's at rest, so the body can use proteins to repair all of the use it has put out during your day of living. Metabolism. Metabolism is a fascinating subject. Metabolism is the process by which we convert the energy we get from the food that we put into our mouth and taste and enjoy into energy that the cell makes to both run the human body and give you enough energy to live your life and do the things you like to do. Now, metabolism is fascinating because it is the thing that in our particular culture is really under great attack. Why is it under great attack? Because so much of the food is not sourced from the natural design of life. We need very much to focus on what does life require of us to be responsible for in the maintenance of our human body so that we get optimum function. What it requires of us is to acknowledge the design and to eat natural whole foods. When we don't, what happens is, in the metabolic process, we actually create the production of too much insulin. Some of you may know about that. Some of you are very, very familiar with insulin if you have a sugar or glucose or a diabetic problem. Insulin is a hormone that is involved in the metabolism of food. That process that changes that food into energy. If you are intaking sugars and starches, you will stimulate insulin production in your body. Insulin is a fat storage hormone. Therefore, if we are eating sugars and starches, if we start our day with sugars and starches, if we start our meal with sugars and starches, you know, like in the restaurant, what do you get first and foremost? What do they bring you after they bring you a glass of water, we hope? They bring you bread and butter, okay? It's always been my conviction that restaurant owners, though they may not know the science of it, have observed that if they bring bread and butter, people are bound to order more from the menu. And more than likely, they will order dessert. Now, why would that be? That would be because when you start your meal with sugars and starches, you stimulate insulin production. When you stimulate insulin production, not only does the body get the message to go into a fat storage mode, but it also gets the message to eat more. Insulin says, I'm very important to you. I'm going to save you for the 6 months in the cave. Therefore, you have to feed me. Give me more food to work on so that I can store good survival material for you. The other thing is, folks, insulin is an inflammatory hormone. So when there's a lot of insulin in the bloodstream, it's causing your vulnerable areas to become inflamed. And don't we know at this point that underlying all disease is inflammation in the inflammatory process? Now, what we want to put some focus on is glucagon. Glucagon is the balancing hormone to insulin. And no one is really taught about glucagon in our society. Somehow, it doesn't fit the commercial picture of products sold in the marketplace. How do we stimulate glucagon production? By eating protein and vegetables and good fat. But protein is the item, actually, that stimulates the glucagon production. Glucagon is a fat-burning hormone. How do you like that, right? How does it burn fat? It goes to the liver, it goes to the muscle cells, it goes to the fat cells, and it pulls the reserves out of those areas and brings it into your bloodstream. And then you can burn fat on a consistent basis and also in the process have much more energy. It takes many more calories from the body to process glucagon than it does insulin. And therefore, we're getting a double-barreled advantage, and it's wonderful to know about it. What does that mean? That means that when you sit down to a meal, if you are willing to make the commitment, you will first have a few bites of protein and possibly your veggies with it, your salad that's covered with some good oil and herbs, before you touch any sugars and starches. It's kind of just a little clue that can help start you on the road to reestablishing the proper process of metabolism in your body so that you go into a fat-burning mode and an energy production mode. It might take a while if you haven't done this for a long time, but be patient and you'll see that it eventually pays off. If we did anything for our children today, we would, as moms, as grandmothers, we would learn how to make veggies so that they're delicious. We would get the children familiar with vegetables, maybe by helping them have a little garden and showing them that from a seed, a tiny little thing that you can hardly see with your eyes, you get some extraordinary looking, either funny shaped or odd shaped or wonderful form of nutrition for the human cell. A lot of the magic that is involved in the process of life has been forgotten. We need to restore that. We need to realize the magic in a seed, a nut, a bean. We need to teach our children that, and they need to realize that this is the gift that we have. Not to go into a place like McDonald's or Burger King and buy some sort of man-made dead food that doesn't do anything but put weight on our body. So on we go to proteins and the fulfillment of that, and that is, again, as mentioned, when you eat protein, you create energy in your body and energy for repair. You also create the material for neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are those little molecules that bounce across your nerve cells in your brain so that you can think, that you can perceive, that you can deduce, that you go on clearly knowing your steps in life. We want to keep that going, right? We need enough protein and in the right form and in the right amount so that we don't overwhelm the body in any way. Your enzymes are connective agents. We call them catalytic agents. They actually connect the food you put into your mouth to your chemistry. Now, enzymes in our society, people lose the function or the refinement of function of enzymes very quickly because so much of the food is not real, because so much of the food is processed and not alive, not coming again from the source of the earth where all life is. So sometimes we need to take enzymes with our meals to help our digestive process, and you should avail yourself of them and take 1 or 2 with each meal so that you can enhance the digestive process. You might not see a big change right away, but over time you will see the evidence of the improvement of your digestive process and the nutrients you're able to furnish to those little cells that are like little batteries, each one of them, a plus and a minus factor. And when we provide them the right proteins and the good fats, they are stimulated to produce energy to repair your body, heal it, regenerate it, youthify it, and have life continue. Don't forget, it's all on the basis of good water, at least your 8 glasses a day or 1/2 ounce to every pound of body weight, and oxygen. So never forget to breathe. Keep on breathing through the whole process. That's your source and basic source of life. Hormones. Hormones are made from proteins and good fats. Do you know that? The right fats and the right proteins put into your body make all your hormones. And let's not forget that hormones are made throughout your body in the entire endocrine system. In our Western culture, people focus mainly on reproductive hormones. But we have a hypothalamus, we have a pineal gland, we have a pituitary gland, we have a thyroid gland, we have a pancreas, we have adrenal glands that sit on top of the kidneys that modify and modulate our pain levels, our stress levels, and then we have the reproductive hormones. All those hormones work together on the cell wall in order for function to be optimum. Antibodies, those things that our body creates to protect us against things that come in that may be harmful, they are proteins. Globulins are proteins. If someone has something like hepatitis C, or you want to protect yourself from catching it from someone, you can get a gamma globulin shot from the doctor. And usually when you get it, you feel better. You feel more energetic. Globulins are proteins, and there are many globulins that make up our antibodies in part. So protein sources. Now we show here you the protein, the best source of protein. Why would fish be considered such a wonderful source of protein? It's because if you recall almost every program you've seen, every book you've read, the Earth is a water planet. It's mostly blue. We are water beings. If you look at the embryonic development of a new human, it goes through all of the amphibian stages of sea life practically. We really are very married to the sea, and if you look at fish when it's whole and healthy, you know that's why we want wild fish, right? We know that. And we know that there are particular fish that we would like to choose when we go to the marketplace. But fish gives you protein and the good fats. Those two nutrients, macronutrients, together create energy in the body, and the right kind of energy for your cell to function optimally. Meat. What do we want to know about meat? Real simple. Meat's got to be grass-fed. People come in and they say, well, what about organic? Organic doesn't mean grass-fed. Organic is great, and if you can get organic grass-fed, wow, then you've really got it, okay? But God programmed beef and cattle to eat grass and clover and alfalfa, not donuts and bagels or carbohydrates in any form. Just like humans get big and heavier and sort of out of shape from eating too many carbs, so do the cattle. And what they then provide to the human body is not healthy. And those fats that stream through carbohydrate-fed cattle end up in our arteries and our vessels. We don't want that. We want meat that's grass-fed so that the meat can create within it CLA, conjugated linoleic acid. Just like fish gives us the omegas, the meat, when it's properly fed, gives us CLA. And CLA converts fat to muscle in the human body. Yay, right? Eggs. Eggs are a whole protein, a whole food. Now, if we are healthy, we can eat eggs. Eggs are wonderful. They should not necessarily be eaten with processed baked goods, though. That changes the design of that egg going into your body. When you eat eggs with vegetables or fruits, you're getting whole, wonderful food that sources from nature.